Okay, now. Oh, wow.
Hey everybody, it's Danny. We're trying this on the laptop. We're gonna see what the video quality looks like. Let me know if you can see it. Shawnee's looking up on her phone. If you didn't see this joker, can everybody see this guy? Look how clear that is. We're good to go.
Okay.
We're so clear. Y'all, if you look at this, I don't know about you, but I feel as if I could use a little bit of joy, and I'm actually preaching on joy this coming Sunday. The joy of Christmas. What brings me joy? This. Do you know what that is? Anybody got any guesses on what this is?
It says the word.
Does it?
Somewhere.
There it is.
It's very blurry.
Scarecrow. This is what we like to call a scarecrow. Y'all, doesn't that bring you joy though?
It does. It is a scary scarecrow.
Shantae drew this, and I'm very proud of her. Look at that artwork. Good job, Shantae. You did a really good job.
It's
I'm
the
really
mouth
thankful for
that
that.
brings it home.
That's the truth. We have more. We're gonna have fun tonight as we jump on here.
Please don't tell our kids.
I don't
But their
know.
artwork is
We're
too
trying
much.
not set follower. I don't know. I was trying this on the laptop tonight because I thought the sound quality might be better. We had a lovely discussion as we were pushing play.
Which means I just disagree. I think that the picture, I think we look blue.
She thinks we look blue. What do you think?
I don't know if we can see their,
Can we not see comments? Do you want to go off and do the other thing?
no, it's fine. I think
Here
we
we
just
go.
need to figure this out.
We're gonna mess with this. Hang
We
in there
are
with us.
just, you know,
We're
old.
like those grandparents on videos that are figuring this stuff out.
I don't know.
Oh, there it is. Sarita said hello. Nobody just said hello yet.
Hello. Okay.
Don't do it.
Okay.
Whew, that was a close one. Hey, Sarita, we're glad that you're here this evening.
Danny's laptop that we're using this evening is state of the art. Dell.
It's what you call a Black Friday deal.
I think it was a Black Friday deal 4
4 or 5 years ago.
Black Fridays ago.
It was a.
And it's a Dell. So the fact that it still turns on is really impressive. Yay! Oh, cozy and
Thanks,
warm.
Heather Chamberlain. Cozy. That's what I'm going for. Cozy and warm, all next to my wife.
Why'd you say it like that?
I was gonna say fire, but I didn't build a fire.
Oh, yeah. We normally do have a fire, but not tonight.
I don't know if anybody else is married to a teacher. Heather, your husband is. I don't know if Justin's watching right now, but if he is, 1, I'm thankful for him. 2,
What are
he's
you
a
about to
good-looking
say?
guy. And 3, teachers have like these looks. I remember from when I was a student that they give kids of like,
He doesn't
okay,
know from now.
you know, like that condescending disciplinarian thing.
No.
I don't know about
You're
Justin,
imagining it.
Heather. I'm not sure how that works in y'all's house, but in our house sometimes it transcends into our home life as well. Not in a bad way, just in more of a really like you really want to go to the
It's not
restroom right now during a
condescending,
test. It's that same kind of look. Like you really going to click the pin 27
It's
times
not
while I'm talking? I was like, well, I was thinking about opening up
It's
the
just
laptop.
like,
I thought the
maybe
video
you should
quality.
reconsider this choice. That's what the face is saying.
The face says it
I
all.
think that you might need to reconsider what you're doing right now.
That's exactly what it is. That's precise.
That's not condescending, it's just a suggestive
This is
No.
my definition of suggestive.
suggestion.
Suggestive would be, I was considering going for a walk. It's a beautiful day. Maybe we should go. That's suggestive.
This is a suggestion.
Suggestion.
Yeah.
This,
That is not what I did. Now you're making
Okay.
me out to
She's
be
like,
bad
okay.
guy. Just because I said we look a little bit blue.
we do look blue on this screen, and it is a state-of-the-art Dell. It has Intel Core
It
13.
has a sticker that says Intel on it. It's a classy laptop.
Intel Inside. I am actually getting something for the cellular phone for next week, and a little tripod thing so we can set it up.
We are on a mission to fix it.
I mean, we're pretty new at this whole Wednesday night thing, you know? We're kind of new at it, and we're going to
I
see
think
what
we're
happens.
gonna get it. It's gonna be better and better all the time.
Oh, look at all these people. Hey, Miss Linda.
Uh,
Hey, Tommy.
He's not really answering.
And
that,
Tim.
so
I'm sorry, I didn't
so we're
realize.
gonna
Okay.
we're gonna scroll.
So now
and
we're
see.
gonna
There it
scroll
is.
down and see this. It's the Intel Inside Core 13.
It's like the new iPhone but different.
It is different. It is like that, but different. And there's a delay, which is even crazier. So as
I
I'm
picked up a
speaking,
new iPhone
there's a
today
one.
for the first time.
You'd what?
Picked up one of the new iPhones. One of my students has one. I guess it's newer than mine. It's a totally different experience. What? I have to collect them for their test, and then I handed them back, and I was like, "What is this? This is awesome." It's just so different than my iPhone. We have iPhone 7?
I don't know.
Ours are old and outdated, and this one was new and fantastic. That's all I'm saying. What?
I have nothing to say. It's true.
Okay.
It's good.
I don't know what you're thinking, but
It's been a great Wednesday. I'm thankful for the new iPhone.
I'm just saying it was whatever. It was different than mine.
Oh,
Mine's
it
like
was.
little and outdated
Shante, yeah.
and very tiny, and this
It's
was
true.
like 4 times the
It's
size
new.
of mine.
Our iPhones are so, and I'm not complaining because Shante lectured our kids today on like life when they got in the car. I heard about it later. So I'm definitely not complaining about anything. We're very well taken care of. I understand the Lord's been good to us. We live in America. I love it. But it is something to say, like the newest iPhones, I think Jeff Rogers has one. There's not even a button
I'm
to
just
push.
telling you, when you see it, you'll
There's not
know.
even a button.
like,
You just
this
look
is
and it has face recognition.
There's a lot on it. It would take a lot for us
It's gonna
to
take us a while.
transition over.
Take us a while. Hey, are you on TikTok? Do you have the TikTok?
I do, but that's it.
I don't even have it.
I know.
I don't. I'm just saying. I
Danny
don't even know what my
has-
TikTok name would be.
Danny has an Instagram,
I do have an Instagram.
which means he's on there.
I'm
because
on
our
there, and people
teenagers
put funny
10
TikTok
years
videos.
ago made you an Instagram account.
That's
That's
true.
why it's named Danny the Preacher,
It's true.
because our youth group created the account. They named him Danny the
That's right.
Preacher. It's never changed names.
It has never
I don't
changed
know
names
that
at
you've
all.
ever posted anything on it.
I don't.
There was a weird
I'm
2
kind of a
days
boring
where you
thing.
posted like 2 days in a row, and Natalie called me. She's like, "Is Danny feeling okay? He put 2 things on Instagram back to
I
back."
was feeling pumped. Last night I did send one. I sent a message
Last
on
night on
Instagram.
Instagram?
It was, "What if Cardi B was a nurse?"
You sent it to Natalie.
She had like nails that were 9-inch nails. It was fun, like the band. Heather, did you catch that reference? You know. Anyway, we had a good Wednesday.
Good
We
times.
are messing around. We are in the living room again. A little bit colder outside, so we're in the living room
And dark.
and dark.
Very dark.
We really are. Hopefully by next week we'll be able to have a little bit nicer setup for the cell phone. We really have done this since March, and usually there's books stacked on this stool in front of us, and right now it's not books. It's a laptop. So we'll be making progress. My phone. This is just me. Maybe it's just me. We had a little bit of a spat earlier,
We
if
didn't.
you call it a spat.
We did not. We did not. We did not.
I was waiting to watch you in there to see if you give me a teacher look. She did it because she knew I was. Didn't you? You knew I was watching.
I didn't. but-
Oh, there it is. This right here is my girl.
Okay.
No, for real. What were we talking about? MySpace.
You said we had a spat about the phone audio.
Oh.
I just don't hear it as drastically as you hear it.
I have great hearing.
Okay.
I do.
Then you are more qualified.
I know.
to
I have great
speak
hearing.
to the
And in
audience.
our house, I have exceptional sight. Thank you, Heather. 9-inch nails. Have exceptional sight. Because when we sit at the dining room table, which isn't a mile away from the stove, that has a clock on it, only one person at our table can read the clock on the stove clearly.
It's him, in case you couldn't tell. He's making fun of all of our eyesight.
I have nothing else.
I'm
I
gonna
know.
let you gloat in your
I'm-
digital clock
I'm
reading.
gloating with
for one more
Intel
minute.
inside Core 13. How was your day?
Good. It's EOC season, which means end of course test.
End of course test.
All of my kids are taking their end of course test this week,
Mm-mm.
which has gone really smoothly. Usually you have a computer crash and burn or something, and we haven't had anything like that. Knock on wood. Yet we have 2
You
more
did.
days.
Can you share that story? Is it legal to share that story about when you got locked in a room for EOCs?
We did in a previous job.
Previous job,
I-
not this
10
county.
years ago, I was giving an end of course test, my first end of course test, and I don't know how many of you are teachers, but I know some of you are teachers, and when you give a test like that, it's high stress. You have to train, you're afraid you're going to say the wrong thing, there's a script, it's a lot. Now I'm more used to it, but this was my first time, and they gave me one person to call if anything went wrong, and it was their office number in the front office. So they put us in a computer lab, because this is 10 years ago, and they start us on our test. There's 2 sections to the test. We're 5 minutes from completing the first section, and someone's computer starts to smoke out of it's the back of the computer, the old desktop computers. It was just smoking.
It was probably Adele.
It was Adele. Tonight it's brought to you by Dell Computers.
Dell.
It was a Dell, actually.
There you
Anyway, I couldn't call anyone and we couldn't leave the room. I mean, it wasn't on fire. It was just clearly overwhelmed.
go. Overwhelmed.
It just was
iPhone.
a very stressful situation. So we invalidated all of our test scores that day. Yay! It was a test of regularity for the entire class. And if you are a teacher, you know those words are not fun to hear. So
And if you're not a teacher, you know there's a lot of letters this time of year. There's a lot of letters.
We redid our entire EOCT that year.
Yeah, they did. That's
Because
good
of the
timing.
smoking computer. Apparently, we really did overwhelm the network, and that computer was just done.
Just couldn't handle it.
That was the end of its life.
That was the end of it.
But for a
Wow.
while, we couldn't get in touch with anybody, and we're just standing in the room with a smoking computer. I just keep saying, "No one talk to each other," 'cause they can't cheat.
They can't cheat.
It was a big day. It was a lot of fun.
10
A
years
good
ago.
memory. Thankfully, today was much smoother than that.
Much smoother than that. But yeah, I did not do any EOCs today. Not even
good.
one.
What what kind of test taker were you when you took like the SAT?
Hmm.
What were
Not
you
a
like
good
in the?
I wasn't good, y'all.
I mean,
wasn't.
did you like bring 3 pencils and line them up on the desk and
No.
have scratch paper with you and all that? There's
Mm.
different.
No and no.
When
Let me
you
share this
watch-
story. Let me share the difference here,
Henry
okay?
Sewell.
Shante, that's the energy. Shante would have like 3 things, like 3 pencils, which is totally
No, I would
You
not.
did it. You didn't
no,
do that?
No. No.
this one time I was taking a test in statistics. Who loves
I'm not a
statistics out of the
nerd.
circle?
I do love statistics.
For real. She's good
but
at it. I'm not. Okay.
different
I can
nerd.
write a
That's
paper in
different
12
kind of nerd.
seconds. It'll take, we complement one another. You know what I mean? Like Sonny and Cher. We're
We
pretty
do.
much a modern day.
Danny can write a
Sunny.
5-page paper in a half an hour.
It's just a gift. It's called the gift of gab. I'm
you know.
full of a lot of
They know. They know.
information. So
They know that.
anyway, I was taking a statistics test, and Dr. Marion, who is an odd duck to say the least, told us that we could have like 4 pages front and back of whatever we wanted on it for this test. Me and my buddy Daniel Clot, I call him Dan Clot.
His name's Daniel.
His first name's
Klotfelter.
Daniel, last name's Clotfelter. Ironically enough, his uncle is Jeff Clotfelter, who plays the
Yeah,
bass
our
at Lake
player.
Point Church.
But
So-
we called him Dan Clot back
We
in
called
the
him
day.
Dan Clot. In his IM back in the day, it looked like Dance a Lot, which was really fun. Really fun times
That's
when
funny,
we
I've
were
never
18
thought
years
about
old.
that.
Yeah, it
Oh.
was a different time. So Dan Clot, he was in this statistics class with me, and we were pumped because we had spent days writing down every formula and every equation and every example throughout the whole semester in little bitty print, all on these 3 pages of notes. Gave out the test. Within 27 seconds, we knew we were going to get a 0. I had no idea. Not many of you, Heather's solid, Miss Linda, I'm sure, Tommy, Tim, all you guys, I understand. Y'all probably crushed some testing in your day. This was one of those tests where, true story, confession time, I had to make, I think, a 28 to get a C in the class.
He didn't get it.
I got a D in that class.
This was before he knew me.
This was way before I knew
Because I
Shantae.
would have at least tutored him in statistics.
Yep,
I love statistics.
she does.
I really do. I really do. It's the part of math that I love the most. And
Yeah.
that's rare even among math teachers. Most math teachers, it's like their least favorite. But for me,
That's
for
true.
some reason, but I was not the kid with the 3 sharpened
No.
pencils. I was always running late to a test.
Hmm.
For the ACT, they almost locked me out. I know that doesn't surprise you at all. You can imagine I was late.
But okay, so this is a fun, and we'll just name
But it is
all
fun to
3 of our
watch.
kids have been taking tests this week, doing their school and stuff. This is fun. This shows what it can either be a generational sin or a generational blessing that you pass down. So I'm not sure. We're going with the blessing on this one. One of our kids told us after we've asked every day, like, "You got any
Does
tests this
anybody
week?
test this week?"
A lot of testing going on. I don't have any tests. I don't have anything. One of ours went to class on Monday,
Tuesday.
and said to the little girls that were sitting next to him, they were talking about a test. They're like, "What?
We have a test today?
What test is that?" And they said it's the MAP test. It's kind of a big deal, which, and again, another acronym, the MAP test. So he's like, "Oh yeah." Quick brag moment. He took the test and got the highest in the class. I mean, without even knowing it. Can I share that in
You
public?
sure? You did. You just did.
I don't know which he or she. I don't know what pronoun they. I don't know.
He.
I'm not sure which
He
way
did.
we're going. But no, I'm proud. Parent moment.
No, it is fun to watch a room full of kids. Well, it's not fun, but that's what I've
Struggle.
done for the last 3 days, to watch different personalities of kid take a test in the same room. They're there are ones who are just like so laser focused, and then it's just funny.
We did
And
a
then
thing.
there's the kid in my class, high school, not third grade,
Yeah.
came in the room. You have to have a Chromebook to take to this, so your laptop needs to be there. You need to be ready to go, have it charged. We said, have it charged, probably a million times since last Friday. Remember your Chromebook. Remember, we all sit down. Everybody's got for real their pencils, scratch paper, calculators are assigned out. And I'm like, all right, are we ready? He goes, wait, do I need a laptop? So we had to stop everything. He had to go get one.
That's rough.
There's always one.
There's
He's just
always.
like, what's going on?
There's
It's
always
today?
one. There's always one.
Is that
Sometimes
today?
I was that one.
And then there's the kid that you wake up 5 times in the middle of the test. That doesn't make your day good.
Mm-mm.
That's not encouraging.
No.
But so overall, very good.
Overall, it was good. But overall, it was good for me too. We had a good Wednesday. I was at the Madison Church most of the day today. We have an office set up again. We keep tearing down offices and putting kids' classrooms in there, which is a lot of fun. So
This is the.
we keep moving further
fourth
to the back now. So now the
office.
office, this is really fun. I'm actually pretty excited.
I hesitate to
the-
use the word office. but what
Technically,
you have.
Danny,
No.
Jeff, Justin, Leanne, and Matt. There's 5 of us could share. Is this is also
It
like the
could
janitor's
also
closet?
be
Like
a
there's
room
the
closet.
there's it is a literal room closet, and it's where the
You have
supplies
to
are
walk
stored.
around the cleaning.
You got to get
shelf.
through. All I'm saying is when you get back there, you better lock that door because you don't hear.
You're one way in too. One way in, one way out.
That's right. That's right. It's tucked in. Nah, it's pretty. It's safe.
I would
It's
not
pretty
use
safe.
the word office for that room.
I'm calling it an office. I'm gonna put pictures up later.
Beside
Okay, I won't. I won't
beside
do
the
that.
Clorox wipe shelf.
Yeah, I'm on the other end though. I'm on
Oh.
the far back wall end.
Okay, in the far corner.
That's how we do things at Lake Point. That's how we do things. So no, it was a good day though. We had a good day up there too.
I was just thinking how we had that nice little office for a little while
We did. And
with the
then
glass for like 6
Tommy,
months.
thanks for that.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you, sir. And then we tore it down and put 90 kids in there. So that's been good. That's been
They
good.
did have 90 kids this week.
I know. We're helping. We're praying. So yeah, y'all. Anything coming up church wise this week?
Oh my.
Oh my.
I might not be the one to ask.
We have
I know that the Lake Point Christmas is
Lake Point
the 19th.
Christmas is the
It's
19th.
next weekend.
It's
I
the
know that.
19th. That's right.
And I'm super excited about that.
It's coming. It's gonna be a really good time. Put that down in your calendars. December 19th from 3 to 5. Y'all, it's gonna be an absolute blast. Downtown Rutledge. Just Google map search downtown Rutledge. It'll get you there. Small but special. But we'd love for you to come out and join us. So you can
Hey,
be part of
Rihanna.
Lake Point Christmas. It should be a really good time. Should be a really good time.
Everybody keeps asking, what's the movie? Has that decision been made yet?
I think we're going with Shawshank Redemption. I don't know where that came from. Maybe that was just me. I think
Merry
Shawshank
Christmas.
Redemption would be great. No, I'm not sure if it's the sensitive word,
I don't know what you mean.
the nativite.
Oh,
Or
Danny is bent
the
out of shape.
star?
Y'all, whoever it is that told him he said it wrong, please.
It was Selena. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna throw Selena under the bus. Selena, if you're watching this right now,
Listen,
I'm struggling.
he has struggled all week. How do
It's
you
okay.
say the word? He asked Caroline just heard. How do you say? What do you
She was
call
like, "It's
that?
the manger, Daddy. It's the manger." I'm like, "Knock it off." Map test. It is true. It is the manger, but it's also
Nativity.
Nativity. The hot chocolate and popcorn arrived today for the live nativity that will be taking place at the Rutledge.
The kids are
The
very
kids are
well
Christmas.
practiced, as far as I know. They're
It's
excited
gonna be a
about
really
it.
good time. It's gonna be a really good time. So come out and
Nadia's
join us.
Christmas was one of the actual legit requests.
That's good.
One of
Wow.
okay, I might need some feedback here. One of my teenage kids from my classroom, we said we might watch a Christmas movie. He said that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Does
Hey,
that
I don't know
sound-
that one. I can't answer that. I don't know.
He was like, no, it's got Christmas music in it. I was like, well, we're not watching it here, but that seemed like a strange
It
connection.
has
to
Christmas
me.
music in it. That sounds
Like Bruce
legitimate.
Willis.
Bruce, how can you go wrong? Our favorite Christmas movies in this house are by far Elf. I think Elf would be fantastic. Let's build an house. Tommy, let's get some
Glass
glass,
in.
bro. Tommy McFarlane, man. Every time, I love it. I absolutely love it. We are closing in the porch. Tommy's helping us with that. It's going to be amazing.
We're gonna have
we're
like a Florida
we're
room
gonna
on the
have a Florida
wash
room.
rock.
I might live there for a while. Well, we would.
Oh,
We're
you're gonna bring me with you. That's sweet.
we're a couple. We're a thing now. So yeah, it'll be a good time.
Depends
but
on how
no,
many teacher faces I make. It might change. Just kidding. Just kidding.
that's true.
That would be your decision if that was.
iPhone. All right, tonight,
Okay.
y'all. Hey, we're up to 20 people. We had a couple people were telling Shanti this last week that their favorite part of this was in the little opening dialogue when we just chit chat back and forth. So on the laptop, the Dell, it has like a timer up there. We chit chat for a while, which is good. That's the best part. I get it. But knowing that we are going to get into the Bible in just a little bit, if you got a Bible, you can grab one. It's a Wonderful Life.
Die Hard is a classic. David and I watch it every year. This is what my kids are saying. They watch it every Christmas.
There you go. I don't think we can do it for the kids. We
No,
can try.
I'm not saying we should.
I'm
was
up for
just
anything.
legitimately.
Call the paper
Not
and tell them
sure
local
what-
church showed Die Hard to
Well,
kids.
when he said Die Hard, I was
during
like,
the
"That's not a
pandemic.
Christmas movie." He said, "Yes, it is." I'm like, I don't. Maybe it is. I don't remember it.
that was
Well,
not
people
us.
watch it every year.
It
But
is.
we won't
Rihanna's
watch
there.
it at the.
Yeah. Oh, Tom,
Oh,
It's
it
a
is.
Wonderful Life. We'll be doing that one Sunday. We're playing another clip. Yeah, that is a good one. That'll be good.
All
All
right.
right. Yeah.
Are we
All
doing
right.
this?
So we'll see you later. See you guys next Wednesday. I'm just kidding. We are going to talk about the Bible.
No, I know it's not for kids.
Not for kids. I know,
Don't worry.
so,
That was
I
a
know.
different topic.
Yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about the star at Christmas time. That's in Matthew chapter 2. If you got a Bible, you can read in there, and it talks about the wise men, also known as the Magi, that show up on the scene because they follow the star. They come from the east, probably from Babylon, kind of in that area. So anyway, we're going to be talking about that a little bit tonight. If you got any questions about the star, we have all the answers.
Oh,
We'll
you know
definitely.
it, clearly.
I took one astronomy class for one semester at 8 a.m.
We
in
took.
college
We
by
both
Dr.
took the same one.
from Dr.
Pangea.
Pangea, who was completely deaf in one of his ears, and I was completely asleep, not gonna lie, for a lot of that class. So a lot of times he would walk in, he had such a soothing voice, he would
He's a
say,
very nice man.
the solar system began, the giant bang, and you're like, what was, it would take your breath away. It would take your breath away. So
He said it was not on purpose. I feel like
he knew what he was doing.
Feel like
He
he's
worked
like,
for
sorry, I
me.
can't regulate how I'm hearing the noise. I'm like,
And he made
"Then
the,
how do you
he
know
made this face when he
apologize?"
did it too. He was like, I can't regulate.
Anyway, it was a good class. Learned a lot about the stars.
We did. It was great. So tonight, as we look at this one, in Matthew chapter 2, it does talk about the wise men seeing a star in the sky, taking note of it, and going towards it to find out where that star led. For real, if you got any questions or things that you've heard growing up or as a child about that you want to share, you definitely can. One interesting thing that is coming up in just a couple of weeks, December 21st, it's happening again. Not the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem, but
You heard it here
what's been
first.
called the Christmas star, or the Star of Bethlehem, which is actually it's an astronomical phenomenon that happens once. The last time it happened was in the Middle Ages, over 800 years ago, when Jupiter and Saturn, pretty nerdy but also very, very cool, line up together to create an extremely bright light in the sky. So when we get to watch this, I would encourage you, December 21st, check it out. They line up once again, just like, and we'll read the article. I'm not going to read it. I was told
You
it was.
can read
It was
it.
no, it was long.
Read
It
it.
really was long. It was long. But I want to summarize. We're going to go through an article by a guy that actually, I mean, I'm not sure what he does for a living, but he's called the expert of the Star of
I bet
Christmas.
his
You know
three
what I mean?
pencils were lined up at
His
the
three
SAT.
pencils. He was there on time. He was there early.
He had extra pencils, extra
but-
paper.
We got have those verses about the star in there. Is that from Matthew chapter 2?
I can look. Mine's King James. So
Come on.
remember, I'm using
I know.
Luke's Bible.
I like that.
Do you just want me to find them really quick while you talk for a minute?
I'm going to continue. So it is fun if you think about the star, because we just moved to Morgan County a few years ago. Compared to like Rockdale and Newton, because of light pollution, y'all, you can see a lot of stars. So my neighbor Kevin, he texts me, which is a really great reminder. Anytime the space station flies over, he'll text me during the day and say, hey, the space station's flying over at 6:30 tonight or at 10 p.m. And me and the kids will go outside in Shante and look up, and you can see it really, really clear, really neat, because we live so far out.
So just chapter 2, verse 2 of Matthew
Okay.
just says, well, 1 and 2. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him.
They've seen a star in the east, and they came to worship him.
This
So,
gospel goes on to talk about how they have a conversation with Herod.
Yep.
And so I always wonder about that.
yeah,
Sometimes people say that these people were kings.
hmm
I mean, we three kings.
yeah.
Some people say magi, which is
The
more
song.
like
That's the song
star.
Yeah, it was more. I read a
Study.
thing this week that said they were more like early scientists. They were like pre-scientists. This is just me off the top. Somebody might disagree, and that's okay. I don't know if they're really kings. I think they were probably part of the king's council. Like they advised a king Like they were probably
Based on
representing
the
a
stars.
king, bringing
Mhm.
gifts,
That's
right?
what it seems like.
Based, so they would interpret stars and say, because it's the same as today, and some of y'all might be into that. We're personally not a fan, but I mean, whatever you do, you kind of thing. But like people will read like horoscopes. It's the same kind of idea now, where people read from the stars and get things from them. Y'all, we trust the Lord more than that. But this idea that like years ago, for real, that was some folks' entire interpretation of the divine, was reading how the stars lined up and interpreting that in life. So yeah, I think so. They were probably part of a king's
So
court.
from the math teacher side of the
Come on.
story, it made me wonder what kind of tools would they have even had back then to measure the stars? I mean,
Yeah.
they don't have telescopes
Right.
yet or anything like that.
Hmm.
So whatever they were given must have been pretty.
Right. And there was no way to distinguish years ago between planets and stars. So like we know now, December 21st, it's Jupiter and Saturn are going to line up. They didn't know that. They were just glowing lights in the
just
sky.
over-
They couldn't see that it was actually, they didn't know about,
Okay.
planetary systems and all that stuff. So yeah, it was just
but still,
everything.
They probably were pretty smart
everything was
guys,
referred to.
I imagine.
Absolutely. We're very
to
smart
notice
guys.
the difference in stars in
Yep.
the sky. So then it says, I'm going to summarize. It says
Mhm.
Herod is talking to the kings or these magi about they are following the star in the east, and then he calls together all the scribes and priests to look into basically the record of, hey, where is Jesus supposed to be born? There's
Mhm.
supposed to be the Messiah, so we need to see. So it almost like gave him a red flag. Hey, we need to look into this. There's
Yep.
a prophecy that a baby's going to be born. And then the scribes are like, yeah, Bethlehem, the land of
Mhm.
Judea. For out of thee shall come a governor that shall be my people of Israel. So
Mhm.
they're quoting
Yeah.
the Old Testament
They're
back
quoting
to him
scripture.
because he heard about this trip to
Yeah.
follow the star.
Which is crazy. And to tie these things in, this is how my brain works. I love history, for real. I really was a history kid and a history student. But we preached on Habakkuk a few weeks ago at Lake Point. And a lot of those prophets and minor prophets, they were writing things in what was called the exilic period. So when the Israelites, the Jewish people, were in exile in Babylon, of all places. One thing that's pretty fascinating, they weren't there for very long, for a while, but while they were there, they brought their faith with them. They brought the Old Testament teachings with them. So there's a really good chance, y'all, that these men in Babylon were continuing to study some of the manuscripts that the Jews brought with them to Babylon and left in Babylon when they went back to Jerusalem. So they've been studying prophecies, but these guys were very well versed in all world religions at the time. So they were looking for all kinds of arrows that were pointing to something divine, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And so then it says they go to Bethlehem following the star and they see the baby, which again, I don't know what kind of math or tools they're using to follow a star, but it leads them directly to
Yep.
this specific stable
Yep.
in this downtown area
Yep.
of Bethlehem. That is, I mean, that must have been very
That's very, very
specific.
cool.
So they find the baby,
Mm-hmm.
as we know, and they give him gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know. Do you remember Steve Powers always used to say that? Are they all for burial or just frankincense
Yeah,
and myrrh?
they each represent a different thing, which is pretty cool.
But part of what they brought represents it's
Mhm.
what they would use for burial, and so it's very
Symbolic. I mean, right at the very beginning.
symbolic right from the beginning. Anyway, and then being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country and went another way. So they didn't go home the way they'd come.
Yeah.
They have a dream after they followed the star across
Mm-hmm.
the countryside or countries.
Mhm.
They see the baby. They realize that he's Jesus, the prophesied one from the scribes and the old manuscripts. And then they have a dream that must be real enough for them to think, well, we at least probably don't need to go back the way we came.
That's right.
And so they find, and I've read before, not here, but in other places, that it's actually way out of their way, the way they go back home.
Mm-hmm.
They add lots of distance to their path just to avoid passing back and having to say to Herod, hey, we found him.
Yeah.
Because they kind of know Herod's
Not for
kind
that.
of
Not
watching
in
what
that
they're
camp.
doing.
Yeah. That's really good.
And I have looked before, I didn't look today. I think that this is only in Matthew.
Mm.
I don't know that the other Gospels,
Have that account.
somebody
for it.
can
That's
correct
my
me if I'm wrong, but
fault. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've looked before. The story of them avoiding Herod, it's not in all four Gospels for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just an interesting little story.
That is very interesting. I like it. And when we're looking at it tonight, I'm going to read, for real, not the whole article, just some of the things from it.
You really
But
can read
and
it.
I'm not going to read the whole article.
It's
but
a little bit long,
it
but
is,
it is good.
It is interesting, y'all, to note that the birth of Jesus, this is cool to me, the birth of Jesus was first revealed, if these guys saw a star, 9 months at least. And there's different thoughts on that. Some people think the Magi didn't show up till he was a little bit older. wherever you're camping out, we believe that Magi showed up on the scene at some point and brought Jesus very expensive gifts. But these guys had to travel for a while to get to where they were. So to note that the foretelling of Jesus' birth very likely first could have been to some astrologers in Babylon that were studying the stars that had no idea. That to me is neat, knowing that before Jesus was even born, he was
They were
already
already
bringing good news to
traveling.
people who didn't know and who wouldn't believe. I'm just going to read a couple of these things, y'all. It's pretty cool. Later this month, it's called the Bethlehem Star, or the Star of Christmas. December 21st, Jupiter and Saturn will align and make a really bright light in the sky. Hadn't happened since the Middle Ages, about 800 years ago. Gives kind of a biblical understanding of how these guys very likely found out what they did. We are fans in our house of encouraging our kids to study science and to study mathematics and to study geology. Like, I personally believe the Bible. We believe the Bible in our house, so I believe the Bible can hold its weight up next to any study. And I think if you look at anything through the lens of Scripture, we will find the teachings of Scripture to come through those. So this is really cool. This is one of those things. So it says here that naturally this is something that happens every so often, every few hundred years. So this theory finds the planet Jupiter to be part of the star. Like I said a minute ago, in ancient Babylon, they thought everything in the sky was a star. They didn't know they were planets. That's totally fine. This article also says they think that these guys were court advisors to the Babylonian kings, and that they really probably thought at first, just like Herod did, because everybody saw the bright light. You know, it wasn't like just these guys were the only ones that saw it. Everybody very likely saw the bright light, but that different people interpreted it for different things. You know, so like Herod and the Romans probably thought, yeah, that's right. That means something really good's about to happen.
Justin said the audio sounds so good.
Justin, I respect you as a man.
Oh, Justin.
You Montagnan. So, this is what I want to aspire to in my life. This guy who's referred to as the Star of Bethlehem expert, Rick Larson,
Wow.
once told, and he quotes another guy that wasn't even Christian. He was a Jewish historian named Philo, who says these guys are probably from the Eastern School. They very likely understood the natural order and are able to explain this to others, what we would call modern-day proto-scientists. This is where it gets really interesting to me. It says early church historians had been giving a date of Jesus being born. I know most of us think it was like 0, like the number 0 in AD or BC, right at 0. But most early church historians think it was roughly 3 BC at which Christ was born. Some scholars say it's as late as 7 BC because of King Herod's death and some things in Scripture that line up with that. This is cool. When the Magi likely saw were 5 astronomical conjunctions that took place over a span of time between August of 3 BC and June of 2 BC. When one planet passes another, seen from Earth, it seems like a great significance in the sky. Very cool to me. We know that these conjunctions meant something to the Magi as they observed them from their far-off land. They all involved the constellation, and this is significant, the constellation Leo, the lion, the planet Venus, the planet Jupiter, and the star Regulus. To the Babylonians, the lion represented Israel, Venus represented motherhood, Jupiter stood for fatherhood or kingship, and Regulus symbolized royalty, which is pretty cool. So if these guys study the stars all day long, all of those things would point to a king being born in Israel who would be royal. So I mean, it's just like, and that's, so anyway, so they head to Israel. Well, then they're like, hey, we have all these manuscripts from what's been going on in Israel. When's a king going to be born? Then they find out it's supposed to be born in Bethlehem.
Have to figure Herod probably had his own star people that were recognizing that too. Like, hey, it's talking about us. And I mean, maybe they didn't interpret these constellations the same, but probably they did.
Absolutely.
It's probably very similar.
Absolutely. This is also very, very cool to me. It says, quote, 9 months after the first conjunction, 9 months when, baby being formulated, we see Jupiter and Venus come together to form the brightest star anyone had ever seen. 9 months prior. That would have been mid-June of 2 BC. Eventually, the same guy, and he has some whole thing, I'm not going to read all tonight, he traces it back and concludes that around December 25th in 2 BC is when that should have happened.
Just by chance, it's December 25th? Or
He
is
said,
that
of
why
course,
we have
they
this-
didn't use our calendar.
Huh?
We didn't know what December 25th meant, nothing to them. They had never heard of December, but to us, it could be a sign. And it's interesting that the gifting did occur on December 25th. That's pretty stinking cool to me.
That is cool.
That even if these guys, even if it took them 9 months to get there, because the star showed up the night that he was born, 9 months to get there, if you trace it back, that's just really, really
Very
interesting
cool.
to know that some of these things line up.
So when this happens this December 21st, is this something we'll be able to see
Yeah.
without a telescope?
Yeah, with your naked
Everybody
eye.
will see
Uh-huh.
it?
Yeah. And they said with
Very cool.
this, that's a very rare occasion. And again, like, I mean, they're all on a pattern, you know, I remember from astronomy class.
I'm sorry, people are laughing at how you said a baby is formulated. And yes, a tail as big as a kite. I think that sounds the same thing.
This makes a guy. Tell us a cut. Yeah, that's it. That's very, astronomical conjunction.
So everybody be looking for December 21st. Is it just a one night
Starlight,
thing?
star bright.
Is it?
Wish I may, wish I might, wish upon this star tonight. So, no, the very first one, and this is cool, y'all. Like, you can look this stuff up. If, like, astronomers today, even though some of them aren't Christian, that's fine. Like, it's sad, but if you were to retrace, like, because you can see the orbit of the stars and the planets, and they are in a pattern. So if you undo the pattern long enough, you can undo it all the way back to this. So when this guy, the Bethlehem star expert, when Richard Lawson retraced all of those steps of the patterns of the stars, he said on that night, Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, and all of those lined up, which would have made it extraordinarily bright in the sky. And that's with zero light pollution. You know what I mean? So if you're looking at stars all night, like I can see 1 billion of them, that would have been really, really significant. Really
Yeah,
cool.
definitely. And if your entire job is to study the stars,
You're going to
you're
notice.
going to notice it.
You're going to take note of that.
I guess that's why it seemed like a big enough reason for them to spend 9 months traveling
That's right.
to where
That's
the
right.
star was going to be.
We, in our house, and this is nerdy, we do have the NASA channel. Don't tell Clark Howard. We still have cable because
We do.
it's the whole
We
thing.
do.
It's cheaper with internet. I know it's weird, but we watch the NASA channel sometimes. I'm not going to lie. We had learned, and I used it in a sermon a while back, one of the first men in outer space, was it Buzz Aldrin? One of them was a devout Catholic, a devout Christian.
Buzz Aldrin.
Cleared it with his priest to take communion supplies into outer space because he said one of the first acts that needs to take place
I think
on the moon is Holy Communion. And his priest the Catholic Church gave him a blessing. He took the sacraments with him and they had communion on the moon. Not going to lie, in my mind sometimes I get a little down, just being honest. Look at the world around me, look at some of the news and go, wow, too bad we don't have a lot of Buzz Aldrins a lot anymore. I should remember this guy's name, but I promise I saw it the other day on the NASA channel, so you know it's true. One of the newest astronauts that is going up to train to possibly go to Mars one day in this last cycle took communion supplies with him to take communion with the other astronauts in outer space on the International Space Station. What does that mean? From what I can tell, any students out there, I know a lot of times some people say that Christians, they have like these weird ideas. Some people have weird ideas that Christians aren't smart or Christians don't believe in science. Some of the most intelligent people I have ever met have been God-fearing people. There are people right now on the International Space Station orbiting the Earth that have communion supplies with them because they, according to their words, believe that God has put them on this planet to leave this planet to show other people how big he is. That's cool stuff. That's so cool. So I love that idea that on the birth of Jesus, the night of Jesus' birth, God used the stars. You know, I did read one thing earlier, which is interesting to note that like nowhere in Scripture, in the Old Testament, God's pretty hardcore against people who look to the stars for guidance and advice. God is not a fan of that. But all of the universe declares his majesty, you know? So God is able to use anything at his disposal to bring glory to himself. So just note that, like, we're not called to look at the stars for like guidance and wisdom, but God can use those things to point people to him.
But
and I
we've
just like
always
that.
encouraged our teenagers when we were in youth ministry, and still encourage everybody. Don't ever let something be excluded to you because you're a Christian and everybody
right.
else assumes, well, you won't really get into this because you read the Bible. They don't have to be contradictory, and they're not contradictory. You can take any scientific class, any math class, and still be a believer, and that does not have to be exclusive
Don't be
to each
embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed
other.
about that.
You'll be told that. It's
And
not-
that's okay. And know that if you look, and I don't know who's watching this right now that might need this, but if you look into it, I promise, because we've seen it and we've read it, there are devout followers of Jesus in every field of study when it comes to science. Just tonight at the dinner table, I know some people, maybe you might not be into this, that's totally fine. Just at the dinner table tonight, when my son said in class today, he learned that, I don't know, human beings 100,000 years ago had
100,
skulls
yeah.
that were different. But hear this, and I want to be honest here. My first comment was not, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard because it's not in the Bible. My first comment was, that's interesting. It's probably still smaller than my head. You know what I mean? That's my true story.
That
My
is
first
what he
statement.
said. That was his
But
first
then
statement.
after that, I did, because he's only 9. Like, he's not ready for some of those conversations. But I want to introduce some of these ideas. So we went with it. And I said, but there are also others who disagree with that number, you know? And he went, cool, pass the potatoes. You know, we
Yeah,
just
he
moved
did.
right on. And that's okay. What hurts me is that I've seen a lot of Christian kids, you know, go to college and you have one professor that just goes with it. But know that for this, in our Christian faith, God used the stars. Our kids outside. God used the stars.
No,
They're upstairs to
they might come through this
to talk
wall.
about Jesus being born. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely
Well,
amazing.
God created science and math, and so don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise.
That's right. That's absolutely right. That'll preach right there. And we got the science and math thing down. I'm not a scientist though.
No.
We do look at the stars.
We do have the NASA channel, so we're
We do
close.
have the NASA channel.
Raise your hand if you have the NASA channel and you watch it.
That's me.
It is.
All right.
I think that's it for tonight.
I think that's it for tonight. I was looking for a scarecrow.
Oh,
One more
yeah,
time.
I don't know. The
If you're having a
scarecrow
bad
is pretty
day,
scary.
if you're having a bad day and you missed the intro to this video, this will make you smile.
Prepare yourself. Slow motion. Okay, a little too slow.
In the arms of the angel, far away from here, in that dark hotel room.
Oh wow, it's worse.
Scarecrow. I know. We're artistic in our house. Y'all, for real, I'm not lying, and I know, there it is, Tim. Thanks. I'm sorry, buddy. Tim's like, what is happening in
What
my
is
life?
happening?
Hey, this thing really did make me smile. I saw this the other day and it made me laugh out loud. That's a happy scarecrow. I don't know when the last time you saw a scarecrow was, but that's the happiest scarecrow I've ever seen in my life. So that's
I
hanging
don't
on
know
my
what the
fridge.
directions for this art assignment was, but that mouth. If you're a crow, you are not coming near this.
I love it. I love it.
Don't tell our kids that we laugh at them.
Don't tell our kids, but we do laugh at them all the time. Hey, I'm thankful for all of you tonight. I have a few people. If you got a couple more minutes, for real, I'm gonna do this
Ooh,
pretty
42
quick. I know.
minutes, Wow. We don't need a timer. It's
Miss
not
Risha Miller texted me just a little while ago. Risha and Billy, their sister-in-law. Her name is Bernice Mueller. She's 83. Has been in the hospital with COVID for the last 7 days. Heart rate keeps getting too low. So they asked us to please pray for her, and I told them we would. Miss Bernice Mueller. Miss Risha is on Facebook, so if you look up Risha, R-I-C-H-A, Mueller, M-E-A-L-O-R, look her up, send her a message, just let her know you're praying. And also, Ron Fowley is having surgery the 17th, this Friday. Ron Fowley's having surgery this Friday. Next Friday, apologies, I'm sorry, next Thursday. Justin Kennedy was talking to him today. He ran into him in Rutledge, and Ron asked him if we could please have a golf cart available at our Late Point Christmas, which is on December 19th.
2 days after
Heather?
surgery.
Heather, I don't know if you were at that lunch, but I'm just throwing that out there. Ron, I didn't mean to rat you out, dog.
Intercept,
But
Heather.
Justin said, yeah, 2 days after surgery, we'll get anybody to drive you around. So just be praying for Ron and the Chamberlain family as well, as they're getting through that one. You got anything else, babe?
I'm good.
All right. Y'all have a great night. We're thankful for you. If you would like to join us this coming Sunday morning, we will have services at 9 and 11 o'clock. You can always watch us online. You're welcome to come with a mask if you want to. You can welcome to come without, whatever you're
Sit in
comfortable
the
with there.
balcony, sit
We
in
have
the
a
regular.
much larger space upstairs now. We just finished that just today. We have a TV up there with some overflow. So feel free, y'all, when you come in. I'll be re-saying this again Sunday. But if you need some space to spread out, we have a lot more space upstairs as well, where folks can go up and spread out. We're just going to keep trusting the Lord together as we keep lifting up the name of Jesus. Go look at the stars tonight, for real. It's really pretty.
Exciting.
It's exciting. It's exciting. So know that even the stars declare His majesty, and even the stars do it. It's pretty cool. So we'll see you guys Sunday. If you need anything, let us know.
Bye.
I got to figure out how to end this, so just
Just
pace
push
yourselves.
the big red end. Stop. You're supposed to call me.
Well, look, it's not ended yet. Look, you're on there. I'm not.